The rain hammered against our apartment windows that Tuesday evening, each drop seeming to echo the rhythm of my heartbeat as I stirred the pasta sauce. Maya was late again, the third time this week. Her text had been brief: working late. Be home soon. I'd stopped asking questions months ago, learned to swallow the knot of anxiety that formed whenever her phone buzzed with notifications she'd quickly dismiss. When the door finally opened at 9:47 p.m., I heard it before I saw her, the hesitation in her footsteps, the way she lingered in the entryway instead of calling out her usual greeting. I turned down the burner and walked into the living room, finding her standing there with mascara-smudged eyes and rain-dampened hair, clutching her purse like a shield. Daniel. My name came out as barely a whisper. We need to talk. Those 4 words. The ones that shatter worlds. I nodded slowly, gesturing to the couch, and took the armchair across from her, creating distance. Somehow, I already knew. Maya's hands trembled as she set down her purse. She'd always had delicate hands, hands that once reached for mine across dinner tables, that smoothed my hair when I was sick, that I'd held on our wedding day 7 years ago. Now those hands twisted together in her lap, knuckles white. I slept with someone last night, she said, the words tumbling out in a rush. Adrian from work. We stayed late finishing the quarterly reports, and we went for drinks after, and I don't know how it happened, Daniel. I don't know. The pasta sauce was probably burning. I could smell it faintly, that acrid scent of something good turning bitter. Fitting, really. I sat there, watching the woman I'd loved since college fall apart in front of me, and felt something inside me grow very still. Very quiet. Say something, she pleaded, tears streaming down her face now. Yell at me. Tell me I'm terrible. Something. But what could I say? That I'd noticed her pulling away for months. That I'd watched her light up at her phone while growing dimmer at home? That I'd felt like a ghost in my own marriage, haunting the spaces between us? I thought about last week, when I'd found her feeding stray cats behind our building at midnight, cooing softly to them, tears on her cheeks. When I'd asked what was wrong, she'd said nothing, just tired, and brushed past me. I thought about how she'd spent 3 hours helping our elderly neighbor Mrs. Patterson reorganize her entire apartment, but couldn't find 20 minutes to sit down for dinner with me. How she'd listened to her friend Sophia cry about a breakup for hours on the phone, offering comfort and wisdom, but met my concerns with silence and turned shoulders. Maya had always been like this, a sanctuary for everyone's pain except mine. She'd collect wounded things, pour herself into fixing them, and come home empty. I'd loved that about her once, her enormous capacity for empathy. But somewhere along the way, I'd stopped being someone she wanted to save and became someone she needed saving from. Are you in love with him? I finally asked. She looked startled by the question. No, Daniel, I love you. It was a mistake. I was feeling lost and confused and he was there, I finished for her. And I wasn't. That's not fair. Maybe not. I stood up slowly, my legs feeling strange beneath me, disconnected. But it's true, isn't it? I've been right here, Maya. Every day, every night. Waiting for you to see me again. She sobbed harder, reaching for me, but I stepped back. Not from anger, I barely felt angry at all. Just hollow. Carved out. Well, I said softly, the words feeling foreign in my mouth. Congratulations. Her face crumpled in confusion. What? Congratulations on finally finding someone who could reach you. I've been trying for months. I walked back to the kitchen, turned off the burner, and scraped the burnt sauce into the trash. Behind me, Maya's crying filled our home like the rain outside. Relentless, overwhelming, and far too late. I didn't sleep that night. Maya had retreated to our bedroom, her bedroom now, I supposed, while I lay on the couch staring at the ceiling, replaying 7 years of marriage like a film reel stuck on repeat. Searching for the moment we'd lost each other. Morning came with weak sunlight filtering through grey clouds. Maya emerged around 7, dressed for work, eyes puffy and red. She paused when she saw me sitting at the kitchen table with cold coffee. I called in sick, she said quietly. We should talk more. Will talking change what happened? No, But, Daniel, please. I need you to understand. I gestured to the chair across from me. She sat, and for several minutes, neither of us spoke. Outside, I could hear the city waking up, car horns, distant sirens, the rumble of the subway beneath our building. Normal sounds. The world continuing as if mine hadn't ended. Do you remember when we met? Maya finally asked. At that campus coffee shop. You were struggling with your laptop, and I offered to help. You bought me a coffee. Said anyone having a Monday that bad deserved caffeine on someone else's dime. A ghost of a smile crossed her face. You were so grateful. Most people would have just said thanks and left, but you stayed. Asked about my day, really listened. Made me feel. She trailed off. Seen, I finished. You made me feel seen too. That's what I loved about you. About us. Her voice cracked. You were the first person who looked at me and didn't just see someone who could fix their problems. You saw me. What changed? The question came out rawer than I'd intended. Maya's hands wrapped around her own untouched coffee mug. My dad died. I blinked. Her father had passed 2 years ago, a sudden heart attack. She'd been devastated but had handled it with her typical grace, organizing the funeral, supporting her mother, being strong for everyone. Maybe too strong. I know you were there for me during that time, she continued. But Daniel, I felt like I was drowning. Every day, just trying to keep my head above water. And everyone needed me to be okay. Mom, my sister, my friends at work. They needed me to be the strong one. I never needed that from you. I know. But that was somehow worse. She looked up at me, eyes pleading for understanding. With you, I could have fallen apart. Should have fallen apart. But if I started, I was afraid I'd never stop. So I just kept moving. Kept helping others because it was easier than facing what I was feeling. I remembered those months. How she'd thrown herself into volunteer work, spent every weekend at her mother's house, took on extra projects at the office. How I'd try to hold her at night and she'd go rigid in my arms, whispering I'm fine while tears soaked the pillow. And Adrian? I forced myself to ask. Maya flinched. He started at the firm 6 months ago. He was lost, struggling with the transition from his old job. I helped him adjust, showed him the ropes. He started coming to me with questions, problems. It felt good to be needed. I needed you. You loved me. That's different. She wiped her eyes. Adrian needed me to function, to survive in that environment. It made me feel useful. Important. With you, I just felt guilty for being a mess. You were never a mess to me. But I was one to myself. Her voice rose, then broke. Don't you understand? Every time you looked at me with those patient, loving eyes, I felt worse. You deserved someone whole, someone who could love you back properly, and I was just broken. Scattered in pieces I couldn't put back together. I absorbed this, trying to fit it into the narrative I'd constructed. The wife who'd grown distant, who'd found comfort in someone else's arms. But Maya had always been complex, hadn't she? Always taking on everyone's burdens, smiling through her own pain. Last night, she whispered, Adrian told me he was thinking about quitting. The job was too much, he said. And I realized I'd become his crutch. Just like I do with everyone. I went to his place to talk him through it, and he kissed me, and I didn't stop him. I should have. God, Daniel, I should have. But for one moment, I wanted to feel something other than numb. Something other than guilty and broken and tired. And that's unforgivable. She reached across the table for my hand, but I pulled back. Not from cruelty, I just couldn't. Not yet. You're not broken, Maya, I said quietly. You're hurt. There's a difference. But you've spent so long trying to heal everyone else that you forgot you needed healing too. And I hurt you in the process. Yes, I agreed. You did. She crumpled, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Outside, rain started again, gentle this time. Washing the streets clean. If only it were that simple for us. The next few days existed in a strange limbo. Maya had asked if she should move out, and I'd told her no, not yet. We needed time to process, to figure out what came next. So we orbited each other in our small apartment like planets that had lost their gravitational pull, polite and careful, never quite touching. I took the week off work. Told my boss it was a family emergency, which was technically true. My colleague James called twice, concerned, but I couldn't bring myself to explain. How do you tell people that your marriage is dissolving not with a bang but with a whimper? Maya kept going to work, leaving early and coming home late. I wondered if she was avoiding me or avoiding herself. Maybe both. On Thursday evening, I was making dinner, just pasta again, something simple, when my phone rang. Maya's mother, Linda. Daniel, sweetheart, I haven't heard from you in weeks. How are you both? I stared at the boiling water, watching bubbles rise and burst. We're managing, Linda. Maya said you've been working too hard. She worries about you, you know. Did she? I couldn't tell any more what Maya felt about anything. I'm okay. How are you holding up? We talked for 20 minutes about her garden, her book club, the new neighbors who played music too loud. Normal things. Safe things. When Maya walked in near the end of the call, she froze, seeing her mother's name on my screen. She wants to say hello, I told Maya, holding out the phone. Maya took it with shaking hands. I watched her transform, straightening her shoulders, brightening her voice, becoming the daughter Linda needed her to be. Hi, Mom. Yes, I'm great. Work is busy but good. Daniel's taking care of me. The lies came so easily. I finished making dinner while she talked, setting 2 plates on the table. When she hung up, I saw guilt flash across her face again. You didn't tell her, Maya said softly. Not my place to tell. I handed her a fork. Besides, she's your mother. You should be the one to decide when and what she knows. We ate in silence for a while. The pasta was overcooked, the sauce bland. I'd forgotten to add salt. Seemed metaphorical somehow. I saw Mrs. Patterson in the hallway today, Maya said eventually. She asked about you. Said she hasn't seen us together lately, wondered if everything was all right. What did you tell her? That we've both been busy. She didn't believe me. She has this way of looking right through you, you know? I did know. Mrs. Patterson was 83 and sharper than people half her age. Last month, she'd pulled me aside and said, that wife of yours is running from something. You can't save people who won't stop running, Daniel. Sometimes you have to let them hit the wall. I saw the stray cats this morning, I told Maya. The orange one is getting bigger. You've been feeding them well. Her eyes filled with tears. They depend on me. Yes, they do. So do I. Did. The correction stung us both. Daniel. She set down her fork. Adrian texted me today. He wants to talk. To apologize to you. Something cold settled in my chest. No. But maybe if you heard. No, Maya. I kept my voice level, calm. I don't need his apology. This isn't about him. It's about us. About you choosing to turn to him instead of me. I made a mistake. You made a choice. I met her eyes. And now I have to make mine. She went pale. What does that mean? I don't know yet. And that was the truth. I didn't know if I could forgive this. If I wanted to. If forgiveness even mattered when trust had been shattered so completely. That night, Maya knocked on the living room door where I'd been sleeping. Can I come in? I sat up, pulling the blanket around me. Okay. She sat on the edge of the couch, careful not to touch me. I've been thinking about what you said. About me choosing him. And you're right. I did make a choice. I've been making wrong choices for a long time. Maya. No, let me finish. She took a shaky breath. I've been reading articles. About emotional avoidance, about using helping others as a coping mechanism. It's called codependency, apparently. I check all the boxes. You're not broken, I repeated what I'd said before. But I am damaged. And I damaged you too. Damaged us. She looked at me with such raw honesty it hurt. I don't deserve your forgiveness, Daniel. But I want you to know I'm going to start therapy. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, she specializes in grief and trauma. My first appointment is Monday. That's good. That's a real step. Is it enough? Her voice cracked on the question. I wanted to say yes. Wanted to pull her into my arms and promise we'd fix this together. But that stillness inside me, that hollow place, wouldn't let me. I don't know, I admitted. I honestly don't know if anything is enough right now. She nodded slowly, tears streaming down her face. Okay. That's okay. You're allowed not to know. After she left, I lay awake for hours, listening to her cry in the bedroom. Every instinct screamed at me to go to her, comfort her. But I couldn't be her healer anymore. Not when I was still bleeding myself. 2 weeks passed. Maya went to therapy twice a week and came home quieter each time, like she was slowly excavating something painful deep inside herself. She'd started sleeping in the spare room without being asked, giving me the main bedroom back. Small gestures that somehow made everything feel more permanent. I returned to work, threw myself into a new project. My colleague James finally cornered me at lunch. You look like hell, man. What's going on? I told him. Not everything, but enough. He listened without interrupting, then said simply, That's rough. I'm sorry. Everyone keeps saying they're sorry, I said. Like it's something that happened to me, not something someone I love chose to do. Both things can be true. James pushed his sandwich around his plate. My sister went through something similar. Her husband had an affair. They tried to work through it, went to counseling, the whole deal. Did it work? No. She said the hardest part wasn't the cheating, it was realizing that the person she'd married had become someone she didn't recognize. The betrayal was just the symptom, not the disease. His words haunted me the rest of the day. Was that what had happened with Maya? Had we both changed so much that we'd become strangers sharing an apartment? That evening, I came home to find Maya cooking dinner. Actually cooking, not just heating something up. The apartment smelled like garlic and herbs, and soft music played from her phone. I made your favorite, she said when she saw me. Chicken masala. Like I used to make when we were first married. I set down my bag slowly. Maya, what is this? I just wanted to do something nice. For you. But her hands trembled as she stirred the sauce, and I could see the desperation in her eyes. This wasn't about being nice, this was about proving something. To me or herself, I wasn't sure. We ate dinner making careful conversation about weather and work and nothing that mattered. Afterward, Maya disappeared into her room and came back with a large cardboard box. I found these, she said, setting it on the coffee table. Our old photos. From college, from our wedding, all of it. She started pulling out pictures. Us at graduation, laughing in the rain. Our first apartment, barely bigger than a closet. The trip to Maine where we'd gotten lost and ended up sleeping in the car, waking up to a perfect sunrise over the ocean. Look, Maya held up a photo from our wedding. You were crying during your vows. Do you remember what you said? I did. Every word. That I'd found someone who saw all of me, the good and the bad and the broken, and chose to stay anyway. And I promised to always choose you. Every day. She set down the photo with shaking hands. I broke that promise, Daniel. I know I did. But I want to keep it now. I want to choose you again. Maya. I love you. The words burst out of her like a confession. I never stopped loving you. Even when I was pulling away, even in that moment with Adrian, which I regret more than anything I've ever done, even then, it was you I loved. It's always been you. I looked at the photos scattered between us, all those captured moments of happiness. They felt like artifacts from someone else's life. I believe you love me, I said quietly. But loving someone and being able to love them properly are different things. I can learn. I am learning. Dr. Mitchell says I've been using caretaking as a shield, avoiding my own feelings by focusing on everyone else's. But I'm working on it, Daniel. I'm really trying. I can see that. Then why? Her voice broke. Why do you still look at me like you're already gone? The question hit like a physical blow. Because she was right. Somewhere in the past 2 weeks, while Maya was discovering why she betrayed me, I'd been discovering something too. I'd already started letting go. Do you know what the worst part is? I asked. It's not even the cheating. It's that for months before that, I felt invisible. I'd talk and you'd nod but not hear. I'd reach for you and you'd move away. I watched you pour yourself into strangers while I starved for your attention. I know. And now you're trying so hard, making my favorite meals, finding old photos, saying all the right things. But Maya, where was this effort 6 months ago? A year ago? Why did it take you destroying us for you to finally see me again? She had no answer. Just tears streaming down her face, her whole body shaking with silent sobs. I don't want to be the crisis that woke you up, I continued, my voice steady despite the breaking inside. I want to be the person you choose when things are ordinary. When life is boring and hard and there's no drama to focus on. You are. You could be. I can do better. Maybe you can. But can I? I stood up, looking down at the scattered photos. Can I wake up every day and not wonder if you're pulling away again? If the next time life gets hard, you'll run to someone else? Can I spend the rest of my life waiting for you to finally finish healing enough to really be here with me? That's not fair, she whispered. No, I agreed. None of this is fair. Not to you, not to me. That's the point. I walked to the window, watching the city lights blur through my own tears. Behind me, Maya gathered up the photos with shaking hands, each one a little piece of us she was desperately trying to save. But some things, once broken, can't be put back together. Not really. You can glue the pieces, tape them, will them to hold. But the cracks remain, and you'll always know where it shattered. 3 weeks after the confession, Maya moved out. Not far, just to an apartment across town, a small one-bedroom she could afford on her own. We split our belongings with surprising civility. She took the photos, the decorative pillows she'd chosen, her books. I kept the furniture, the kitchen supplies, the bed we'd shared. Neither of us wanted it, but someone had to take it. The day she left, I helped carry boxes to her car. It was a Saturday morning, cool and clear, the kind of day that made you believe in fresh starts. Maya loaded the last box into her trunk, then turned to me, hands twisted together in that familiar gesture of anxiety. This is really happening, she said. Yes. I keep thinking I'll wake up and the last month will have been a nightmare. Me too. She stepped closer, and I let her. Let her take my hand, memorizing the feel of it one last time. Dr. Mitchell says I'm making progress. That I'm finally dealing with my grief instead of running from it. I'm glad. You deserve to heal. She also says. Maya's voice caught. She says that sometimes the collateral damage of our wounds can't be undone. That we can acknowledge we hurt people and still have to live with the consequences. She sounds wise. I miss you. The words came out broken. I miss you so much it physically hurts. And I know I don't have the right to say that. I know I did this to us. But I need you to know. I squeezed her hand gently. I miss you too. The you I married. The us we used to be. But those people are gone, Maya. We're different now. Maybe we had to become different. Does different mean it's over? The question hung between us, weighted with 7 years of marriage and a lifetime of might-have-beens. I thought about easy answers, kind lies. But Maya deserved the truth. I think so, I said quietly. I think we ended before you slept with Adrian. That was just the moment we both had to stop pretending. She closed her eyes, tears spilling over. I'm so sorry. For all of it. For taking you for granted, for not seeing you, for... I know. I pulled her into a hug, feeling her shake against me. I forgive you, Maya. I do. But forgiveness doesn't mean we can go back. We stood there on the sidewalk, holding each other while the city moved around us. People walking dogs, couples holding hands, someone struggling with grocery bags. All of them with their own stories, their own heartbreaks and healing. When we finally pulled apart, Maya wiped her eyes and attempted a smile. You're going to be okay, you know. You're the strongest person I've ever met. I'm not strong. I just know when to let go. That is strength. She opened her car door, paused. Will you keep feeding the stray cats? The question made me laugh despite everything. Of course she was worried about the cats. Yes. I'll take care of them. Thank you. She got in the car, started the engine, rolled down the window. Daniel, I hope you find someone who can love you the way you deserve. Who sees you and chooses you and stays. Every day. I hope you find yourself, I replied. The real you. Not the person everyone needs you to be. She nodded, fresh tears starting. Goodbye, Daniel. Goodbye, Maya. I watched her drive away until the car disappeared around a corner. Then I went back inside to an apartment that felt simultaneously too empty and too full. Everywhere I looked, there were ghosts, Maya's coffee mug on the counter, the indent where she sat on the couch, the space in the closet where her clothes had hung. Mrs. Patterson knocked on my door that evening, holding a casserole. Figured you might not feel like cooking. Thank you. I took it, managed a smile. You knew, didn't you, that she left? I saw the moving truck. Saw your face. She patted my hand with her weathered one. You did the right thing, son. Did I? It doesn't feel right. Sometimes the right thing is the hardest thing. You couldn't save her and yourself at the same time. You chose yourself. That takes courage. After she left, I sat at the kitchen table and cried for the first time since Maya's confession. Not angry tears or bitter ones, just deep, grieving sobs for everything we'd lost. For the couple we'd been and would never be again. The following Monday, I called a therapist of my own. Started trying to understand how I'd lost myself in trying to hold on to someone who'd already let go. Began the slow work of rebuilding. Weeks became months. I learned to cook properly, took up running, started saying yes to invitations from friends I'd neglected. James introduced me to his book club. I adopted one of the stray cats, the orange one. Called him Mango. He slept on my chest at night, purring, asking nothing of me except food and occasional scratches. Maya and I texted sometimes. Brief exchanges about divided mail or shared accounts. She sent me a photo once of her in her therapist's office, looking tired but lighter somehow. The weight of everyone's expectations lifting. I replied with a photo of Mango, who had destroyed my favorite chair. She sent back a laughing emoji and his perfect. 6 months after she moved out, I ran into her at the grocery store. She looked different, hair shorter, wearing colors she'd always said weren't her style. She was with someone, a woman with kind eyes and an easy laugh. Daniel, Maya said, surprised. This is Sophia. My friend from work. We were just... It's fine, I assured her. Good to see you, Maya. You look well. So do you. Her eyes were warm, sad, but not desperate anymore. Really well. We talked for a few minutes about nothing important, then said goodbye. As I walked away, I realized I felt peaceful. Not happy, not sad. Just accepting of what was. That night, I sat on my balcony with Mango purring in my lap, watching the city lights flicker like earthbound stars. Somewhere out there, Maya was learning to be okay. And so was I. Our story hadn't ended with fireworks or dramatic scenes. No thrown dishes, no shouted accusations. Just two people who'd loved each other learning that love alone wasn't always enough. That sometimes the kindest thing you could do was let go. I'd responded to her confession with congratulations, not from cruelty, but from a place of profound exhaustion and clarity. Congratulations on finally finding what you needed, even if it destroyed us. Congratulations on your wake-up call, your moment of truth. And now, months later, I had my own truth. I was going to be okay. Different, scarred, but whole in a way I hadn't been in years. The quiet dignity of walking away had saved me. And somewhere in the city, I hoped Maya was learning that too, that sometimes you have to lose everything to find yourself. I scratched Mango behind his ears and went inside. Tomorrow was a new day, and I would meet it not as someone's husband, not as someone waiting for love to return. Just as myself. Finally. That was enough.